What's up, my friends? You know that feeling when the season just gets started, but things are already on fire in Las Vegas? Yeah, Raider Nation can't catch a break. Between injuries, trade rumors, potential signings, and a road challenge that will really test our grit, the talk today is hot. Stick with me because seriously, you're not going to want to miss this. Before we dive headfirst into the news, let me ask a simple favor. If you're into this Raider Nation talk, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button too. It helps a ton to get our voices heard. And comment for real. I want to hear what you guys think about every bit of news that drops here. The shock from last week still stings. Taking that 29 loss to the Chargers was tough. No one's hiding that, but hang on, not all the news has been bad in the days leading up to the game against the Commanders. There's an update that could give us a morale boost. Jackson Powers-Johnson is back. That's right, the rookie who earned his stripes last year and became a key part of the Raiders' offensive line looks ready to face Week 3. For those who lost track, Powers-Johnson suffered a concussion in the season opener against the Patriots. It was one of those moments that sends a chill down your spine. You're more worried about the guy than the scoreboard. You know how it is. He ended up missing the Chargers game and was sorely missed. The offense looked lost at several points, and protecting Geno Smith became almost an impossible mission. Now, the good news, he practiced normally, has been cleared from concussion protocol, and is expected to return to his spot at right guard. Man, this is a game changer. The line has already been struggling with position adjustments. Dylan Parham moved back to the left side. Jordan Meredith held down the fort at center, and it was up to Powers-Johnson to handle the right side. It's not easy, but the kid has shown personality since last year when he came in to hold down the left guard spot and never let go. To be honest with you, I was worried that this concussion would derail his development. The guy needs to get a consistent sequence of games. He needs to get into a rhythm and build confidence. Without that, his growth stalls. And let's be real, our offense isn't good enough to lose a young, promising starter. Plus, facing the Commanders without Jaden Daniels gives us a glimmer of hope. Marcus Mariota is expected to be their starter, and as much as we respect the old-timer, it's not the same level of threat. If our offensive line can give Geno time to work, and if the running game clicks with Zamir White, we can believe in a positive result in Washington. Another thing, we can't ignore the fact that the fan base is demanding more. Female fans are also messaging in, asking for more consistency and fewer offensive meltdowns. The return of Powers-Johnson is almost symbolic. It shows that the team hasn't given up, that guys are returning to the fight. Only here will you get this kind of read from a Raiders fan's perspective. The injury was a scare, but his return could be the fuel we need. And I'll say this, if he really plays well against the Commanders, his confidence will skyrocket, and the whole offense benefits. Comment below if you also think that Powers-Johnson's return could be the missing piece to turn this game around. Because listen, the next bit of news involves money, contracts, and even the possibility of a trade. Stay tuned because this one's going to spark a debate. If there's one thing that gets Raider Nation's heart pumping, it's when the talk involves money and one of our top receivers. And man, the buzz around Jakobi Meyers is getting louder and louder. The guy is in the final year of his contract, a $33 million deal, and hasn't gotten the extension he wanted. The result? A trade request during the offseason, even though he never stopped practicing or playing. To be fair, Meyers hasn't been a diva. He came in quiet, played hard, and has already shown up. He's got 165 yards so far, which is top 10 in the league. Reliable hands, precise routes, the kind of guy who always shows up when the QB needs a third down conversion. Seriously, he's the type that makes a difference, especially in an offense that can't just depend on Davante Adams. But then the drama starts. ESPN has already floated the idea that he could be on the market before the trade deadline. And let's be real, if the front office's plan isn't to re-sign him, it makes sense not to let him walk for free in 2026. The problem is something else. How do you sell the idea of being competitive in 2025 if you get rid of your second best wide receiver? Pete Carroll made it clear that this isn't a rebuilding year. So how would you explain to the fans paying for tickets at Allegiant Stadium that the team let go of Meyers? Tough, right? To be honest with you, I'm torn. On one hand, it would be smart to capitalize now and get some draft picks. On the other hand, getting rid of a reliable target for Geno Smith could tank the offense and kill any chance of making the playoffs. And what's more, Jack Beck, the rookie who is supposedly there to get playing time behind him, hasn't shown anything so far. 1 reception, 9 snaps on the field, practically a ghost. We can't trust him to replace Meyers overnight. Another point that people forget, the locker room. Meyers might not be a media superstar, but he's respected in that group. Trading that type of player in the middle of the season could send the wrong message. Something like, it doesn't matter if you produce, if you don't have a guaranteed contract, you're out. That creates a locker room divide, and you know a divided locker room doesn't lead anywhere. Only here will you get this kind of read from the stands. If the team is really considering trading Myers, it's going to be a true test for the coaching staff, because Carroll talks about a commitment to winning, but actions speak louder than words. Comment below, would you keep Myers until the end of his contract, or would you be okay with trading him so you don't lose him for free? I'll admit this question is driving me crazy, and hold on, because the next piece of news involves a potential reinforcement on offense, and it could be the piece we need for depth. Have you guys noticed how the wide receiver drama in Las Vegas never ends? Just when we think we're getting stable, another hot rumor comes up. And this time, it's about Tyler Boyd. Yeah, that guy, ex-Bengals, who played for the Tennessee Titans in 2024 and is now a free agent. The talk going around is that the Raiders are eyeing him, and listen, it makes a whole lot of sense. First point, the value. Boyd is estimated to be worth something like $2.4 million per season, a low contract for a player who can still run good short routes and bring solid experience. On a roster that's banking on young guys like Jack Beck, Dante Thornton, and Trey Tucker, bringing in a veteran of his caliber doesn't hurt the cap and gives the offense more confidence, and that's where the coaching staff's vision comes in. Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly on offense, and Brennan Carroll handling the offensive line have made it clear that they want versatility and players who are ready to contribute. Boyd is that. He can play in the slot, he can line up on the outside, he has a history of being reliable on third downs. He's not the kind of guy who's going to break out with long touchdowns, but he's the type who keeps the machine running. To be honest with you, I see this potential move as a relief. The offense can't just depend on Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, and a lot is up in the air about Myers' future. Geno Smith needs safe options to get the ball out fast. Boyd would bring exactly that kind of safety valve, reducing the pressure on an offensive line that is still adjusting with Powers Johnson just coming back. Another detail, leadership. Boyd has a ton of NFL experience and can help the young guys grow. Beck and Thornton have talent, but they lack game smarts, that kind of defense reading ability that only comes with time. Imagine them practicing and playing alongside a guy who has faced the Chiefs in the playoffs, who has handled pressure in big games. That doesn't show up in the stats, but it changes the group's mindset. Of course, there's always a risk. His last year in Tennessee wasn't brilliant, few touchdowns and a quiet presence, but let's be real. The Titans' offense wasn't helping anyone shine. In a more aggressive system like Chip Kelly's, he might find his space and confidence again. Only here will you get this kind of read from a fan. Boyd wouldn't come here to be a star, but rather that reinforcement who flies under the radar and ends up being fundamental. The kind of signing that doesn't make headlines, but that Raider Nation feels in the trenches when the team needs to convert a third down in a tight game. Comment below if you'd be on board with seeing Tyler Boyd in the silver and black. Because, look, if this move really happens, the debate is going to get hot. And speaking of hot, the next story involves Carroll, a road challenge and a test that could define the course of this season. There are some things that don't lie. An early Sunday road game always tests the Raiders' soul. And now against the Commanders in Washington, the conversation isn't just about who's on the other side, it's about us. It's about seeing if this Pete Carroll team is really developing a thick skin or if they're still stumbling over the same mistakes. To start, there won't be Jaden Daniels, their sensation rookie is out, and it's expected that Marcus Mariota will step in. An old friend, he's been around the league, and as much as he can still run, he's not the same threat as a Daniels in top form. Seems like an advantage, right? But Raider Nation has been scared before by underestimating an opponent without its starting QB. We can't fall for that. Carroll was clear in his press conference. The focus is to fix our game. Translation, it doesn't matter if it's Mariota or Daniels, the bigger problem is correcting the mistakes we create ourselves. Against the Chargers, it was painful to see how many times the defense held up well and the offense didn't respond. It's no use holding Deebo Samuel Sr. in check, yes, he now wears burgundy and gold, if the offense can't get past the 20-yard line without stumbling. And listen, this matchup could be a turning point. The win against the Patriots gave us hope, but the loss to a division rival cooled things down. A second consecutive loss, especially against a team without its starting QB, would put a fire under the criticism. Fans don't want to hear talk of a long season. They want to see results now. Commitment to excellence isn't just a phrase in a museum, it's a living expectation. To be honest with you, I see this game as the true test for Carroll at the start of his tenure. His speech is beautiful. Competitiveness, energy, confidence. But now it needs to show up on the field. The offensive line will have Powers Johnson back. The offense might even get a reinforcement soon if Boyd shows up, but none of that matters if the mentality doesn't change. And there's the indirect rivalry. The Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers are watching. Every one of our losses is fuel for our rivals. We can't let the AFC West slip away right at the beginning. Allegiant Stadium has to feel this energy even when playing far away, as if Raider Nation is pushing from every corner of the country. Only here will you get this kind of read from the stands. This Sunday isn't just another game. It's the kind of game that shows whether the team will be in the fight until December or if it will be a nobody. And I'm telling you, if we lose to Mariota and company, the atmosphere will get really heated in Las Vegas. Comment below if you think this game will be the turning point or another disappointment. Because next, I'm going to tie all these stories together and show you why Raider Nation is living through weeks of pure intensity. Sometimes it feels like being a Raider is living in a whirlwind. One day we're celebrating a lineman's return, the next there's a trade rumor, a possible signing, and even a true test on Sunday. It's this roller coaster that makes Raider Nation unique. For me, it's clear. Either the team finds consistency now or the season will be a struggle far too early. Just win. Baby isn't a museum quote, it's a living demand. So comment below, this space belongs to everyone who bleeds silver and black. And stick around for the next chat, because there will be no shortage of news.